go ahead and get started on the ratchet plate. I'm going to just create this this piece that is a 6-inch. So it's a 6-inch diameter that goes to the outside of the tooth. And I'm looking at the 5-inch diameter that's to the inside of the tooth. For this problem, I'm going to probably just start this one with creating a 5-inch disc, and then I'm going to add the tooth to the outside. So if that's 5 inches there, I'm going to also go ahead and draw the inside circle that is 1.25, and I'm going to go ahead and add the keyway to this while I'm sketching this out. So really no need to draw this piece and use the revolve command for this one. Try to use that revolve command when it's applicable, but for this one, really doesn't save me a lot of time by using that. So let me just place those dimensions on here. The keyway dimension, the 1.25, so the length of it's 0.25 here. The 0.125 is going to be from the quadrant of the circle. So I'm going to pick that line first so I can pick the quadrant of the circle there. So I'm picking the quadrant of the circle. That is going to be the 0.125 dimension. So after I do that, I'm going to just trim this out. Now, depending on what version of AutoCAD Inventor you have, sometimes I think on the older versions of Inventor, it's hard to pick that quadrant of that circle. So just kind of a trick that I've done in the past is actually dimension the top of that keyway using the radius of the circle plus the length of the keyway. So sometimes if you have a hard time picking that quadrant of the circle, go and pick the origin and then dimension it the radius plus the height of the keyway, and that's how you can set your your horizontal line for that keyway. So just another way of defining that, because I know some of the older versions of Inventor does not allow you to pick the quadrant of the circle there. Just a problem I've run into in the future. So let's go ahead and finish this. I'm going to extrude this to 1/8 of an inch. So I want to pick the outside surface. 1/8 of an inch is already there. So the thickness was given to you in your book is 1/8 of an inch. And now I'm going to add the tooth to this part. So just rotating it around. I'm going to choose to do this tooth right here over on the, let me zoom in, this right here. So I'm going to lay out this angle here and or this tooth with that angle. So we've got 20 degrees. We've got to lay that out. So I'm going to draw a line over, draw a line down 20 degrees, lay out the diameter 6 inches on that, and then connect those points. So I'm going to draw one tooth and then use the circular array pattern to get the other ones. So back to where we were. So I'm going to have this line here that will be a 3-inch line because the radius is 6 inches, and now I'm going to draw another line in here, define an angle of the tooth, make sure that we put that at 20 degrees. Alright, and I'm going to use project geometry. I'm going to bring forward the outside diameter, so I've got that circle there, and now I'm going to draw a line from the endpoint to that intersection, and now I'm going to trim away this line, and I might as well go ahead. I don't need this line at all, except for I erased my dimension, but it's okay. So I'm going to now finish this, and I'm going to extrude that one tooth. So I'm going to pick that profile, and I'm going to change the direction because I need it to be in the same direction first extrusion. So 1/8 of an inch, that's going back. So that is my first tooth. So either you can draw each one of those teeth on that ratchet plate, which I don't want to do. I would work smart, not hard. But I'm going to use the circular pattern. So when we use the circular pattern, remember that it asks for you to rotate the feature. So this is our feature, so it's going to be extrusion 2. You could have renamed that to actually for one tooth, but we're going to pick extrusion 2. You can pick it over here in the model browser, or you can actually pick it on the part itself. So that is the feature that we're getting ready to array. The rotation axis is going to be around the center of that part right there, and then you're going to have to change the quantity in the box. So looking at this part right here, we have 18 teeth there, so it gives you a little preview. That is what we're looking to create. Hit the OK button, and there is your ratchet plate. So I'm going to let you go ahead and put this on your B size or C size paper and dimension that as shown in the textbook. Alright, so I was able to get this drawing set up on a B size, and it did fit. If you did a C size, then that would work okay. It would give you a little bit of space. I did put this at 1:1, so I think 1:1 scale is needed for a drawing this size. So I'm going to go ahead now and start to put the center lines. I always like to start with center lines and get that notation or those lines on the drawing before adding the dimensions. So I'm going to pick on the circle here for the center marks. I'm going to use the center mark, pick on that circle, and we get that little funky center line. So I'm just going to pull on the ends of the center mark because I don't have an outside circle yet. I guess I could have done that first, but I picked that. So let's just change the order there. So I'm going to draw that out and pull those center lines out to go past the part. What we are going to need to do is to give a center line dimension because we need to specify the 6-inch diameter. So this is something that you haven't had to do yet. So we're going to do something new. We're going to go over to your sketch toolbar. So we're going to go on the sketch and we're going to start a sketch. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to create a new sketch on this sheet of paper. So I'm going to want to draw a circle around the outside of the teeth. So I'm going to click on circle, and before I do that, let's go over here and check the format of our lines. So the line type is going to be the first block right there. So I want to go down and make this a chain. They don't call this a center line, they call it a chain line. So the chain, so I had to give the actual line type, and I'm going to pick circle, and I'm just going to draw a circle from the center of the part over to the edge of the tooth, or type in 6 for the diameter, and now we have a chain line that we can use. So if I hit finish sketch, you will see that circle is there. So we've got that, and now we can start applying our dimensions. So back to the annotate, I want to make sure that this circle here is located and called out as a 6-inch diameter. We have the inside diameter at 1.25, so I'm going to place that dimension over here on the side. And we also have the 5-inch diameter, which looks like I'm going to have to go back and draw that again. So back to sketch, start a sketch, click on this here, and let's just check my format while I'm here. It's already on chain, so I'm going to go back to circle and draw another circle and just pick 5 inches, hit enter, and that's going to give us a 5-inch circle. And why did that not turn out to a chain? Let me double click on that and go back to format. Is this chain? Finish that sketch. I'm going to back that up. I'm going to undo. I don't know why that didn't come out as a chain. Alright, I guess I did not select that when after I did that. So I needed to get that circle drawn in there as a chain line. Hit finish sketch when you're done creating that, and then go back to your annotate, and then that way you're able to specify that dimension as a 5-inch diameter. You will also need to place a dimension for the angle. So I'm going to place a dimension between the two lines there and call that out as 20 degrees. And the last thing I need is a keyway dimension. Try not to put your dimensions inside the part. That's one of the ANSI rules, is to not place the dimension inside the part whenever possible. So I'm going to be using a leader for this right here. So I'm going to take a leader and I'm going to point to the keyway, and I'm just going to place this dimension up here. We like to keep our angles, our dimensions, or any of our leaders between 30 and 60 degrees. We don't want to go straight up. We don't want to go straight to the side. So if you always shoot for something like a 45-degree angle, most people can eyeball 45 without any problem. So I'm going to type in here the keyway notation is 0.25 by 0.125 keyway. Hit OK for that, and I'm going to put that note. And just because I've got the, I didn't realize that came up as a radius. I'm going to go ahead and delete this dimension. I'm going to redo this dimension. I'm going to place it over here closer to the keyway, just so it kind of flows just a little bit better. So I don't want that that original dimension value, so I'm going to change this to the diameter 1.25. So hiding the dimensional value, I'm going to click on the diameter symbol, and then I'm going to type in 1.25. So I'm just overriding the original dimension, and those two pieces of information are nested over here on the left hand side, and the rest of the dimensions are on the right. So to finish this off, we should have because we don't have like a right side view, typically in the lower left hand corner, you would list note and then put the material. They did not specify the material type, so we're just going to do 0.125. 0.125, and then that way someone will know that that material is 0.125 thick. Without the right side view and a dimension, that's what you would be expected to do. And just to give you some background information, usually when you have a part that is this thin, or like any kind of thin metal, any kind of gasket material, anything that's really thin, this is enough information. So 0.125, and typically, we would follow that up with the actual type of material. So we could put like a 0.125 steel. So that's the end of that part. Go ahead and fill out your title block and make sure that you get that drawing saved as a PDF and upload it into Canvas.